receipts because of my leadership. Crime has gone down. And the people were like, crime? No, me like
that was a weird one.
Bring it back.
That was weird. And the one that I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around with Danielle and the other guy that was and again, I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to just butcher it on the air just out of personal courtesy. That took over Zvonik's seat. The one that I'm still trying to figure out is the money. And because we hear a lot of times that, oh, well, George Soros is coming in and buying these seats because what can you do when someone else has all the money? Danielle had over $200,000 raised, and there was another group that brought in several $100,000.
Yeah, way more than anybody else.
And even the other guy that lost, whose name I can't pronounce, and I have deep apologies, had raised over $100,000. Nobody else was even close. And those two end up third and fourth. That's what I'm trying to really wrap my head around. Is we hear from candidates when they come on the air and talk about, well, I lost, but the other candidate had all this money. What am I going to do when they have all this money? How can I possibly fight against that? And yet in this instance, that amount of a war chest that wasn't just more, was light years larger than anybody else. Why couldn't that, or why wasn't it turned into more votes? I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that one. And the other one just being where some of the voters were. And what I mean by that is no one shown up. Is where was some of the enthusiasm? Where was the, especially on the Republican side of the aisle, if they felt that the Aurora City Council was doing such a good job, where were you? How come? Because, why didn't you turn out and at least fill out the ballot for them? I'm in Aurora. I'm in that area. The ballot was short. I mean, if you really could have done it in 3 minutes. It's not that hard. It was very, very quick. It's not like one of those large, presidential election ballots. It was really short, didn't take a lot of time, and that minimal level of effort. I've got a lot of questions about how people in Colorado that are so worried about getting more Republicans elected couldn't be bothered for the 3 minutes to fill out little bubbles. That I'm trying to figure out.
The turnout was like around 30 or 40%.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Even in places like Elizabeth, which brought up a point of discussion yesterday. Should you get fined if you don't vote?
Oh, yeah, we were talking about this in the text messages.
Right? We're a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The consent of the governed, and like a majority don't even show up to vote. And so you end up handing the government over to the most passionate kind of extremists in some cases, right? They have the most energy. They're the most committed. They dive into all this stuff. So those are the people that we just handed over to? I don't know.
Yeah, and the thing I have a problem with the idea of making voting mandatory or fining is a couple of things of, we want you to exercise your freedom, and we're going to make it mandatory. I don't think that's necessarily freedom anymore. But the other part is,
now do that with taxes.
Yeah, but the idea being that if you want to fine or you want to punish someone for not voting, does that equal a more engaged voter? Or do you have someone that just to avoid the fine opens up the ballot, fills in random bubbles without reading anything, drops it in the mailbox and says, well, voted, avoided the fine? That I don't think gets us to a better place. That's kind of the problem I have with the idea of mandatory voting. I don't think that the outcome is going to be what you think it is. That's the problem.
Join the conversation. We'd love to hear from you. We got a lot to talk about today. Flight reductions coming as a result of the government shutdown. DIA also seeking to pay air traffic controllers wages out of their own pockets in order to cover the FAA's flight reductions. 10%. FAA plans to reduce air traffic by 10% at 40 major airports to maintain safety as the shutdown continues. Well, this finally pushed the Republicans and Democrats together to figure this thing out, get the government back open again. We're going to talk with Dan Wu, president of the newly launched Colorado Center for Law and Order, coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. We'll cover Aurora and the shift that's going to happen there as that goes back to being a progressive-led city. And then Jimmy Sengenberger is going to join us, as was there a repudiation in Littleton of the governor's development plans to turn basically Denver into Los Angeles with just sprawl, high-density, multifamily. Anyways, we'll get to that and more. Would love to hear from you. Join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Good Thursday morning, 44 and cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 66 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, DIA wants to reduce the stress caused by the Schumer shutdown by using its own money to pay air traffic controllers. Airport officials asked the FAA for a waiver to make those payments Wednesday. The airport would ask for reimbursement of those payments after the shutdown is resolved. Some Senate Republicans say they're close to reaching a deal to end the shutdown as we hit day 37, a mini funding package that could get bipartisan support is nearing completion. Traffic will be a little slower this afternoon near Mile High. Bo Nix and the Broncos go for 7 straight wins tonight at the stadium. The Raiders in town.
We feel like we haven't even played a complete game offensively, much less, as a team. And so, I think once we start doing that, then we got to be careful about being too lax. But until then, guys we're all in a growth mindset, and we're worried about the things that we can fix. And because there's several of them from each position that we're trying to focus on.
The Broncos have submitted a draft plan for their proposed redevelopment of Burnham Yard. The plan submitted Wednesday shows that the new Broncos stadium would be placed on the western side of the rail yard. A timeline included with the plan estimates estimates a review process that would last nearly a year, with construction permits getting approval in early 27. The death toll from the UPS plane crash at Louisville's Muhammad Ali Airport has climbed to 12, including a child, while investigators say one of the plane's engines detached from the plane at takeoff. Here's what business owners in Manhattan are saying: black, white, brown, it doesn't matter, all religions, about Kami Dani winning the election for mayor of New York.
Did he win, by the way?
He won.
They chose the knucklehead, so we're gonna pay for it.
What happens if he opens up the government-run grocery stores?
I'm not with it.
Oh, you don't like the government-run grocery stores?
No.
$30 minimum wage. Can you explain how that might affect businesses?
We're going to hell. It's over.
How are they going to make payroll?
It's just about all the policy that he's trying to do, increasing the workers and the taxes. It's not good.
The minimum wage doesn't help the worker. It just helps the system. Pay more money, more taxes, prices go up.
Overnight, half of them will go out of business.
So I'm in a blue state, I'm sorry, but I've been red my whole life. Democrats have always ruined, steal, rob, and lie.
Any thoughts on having him for 4 years?
What I can do is just swallow and try to face it, but it's not easy.
We're cooked. We're on the way to becoming a communist state.
The city's in trouble. We're in trouble.
Good luck.
And those are smart people, of course, because they run businesses.
Yep. That's coming. It's coming to Aurora, too. $25 minimum wage will hit Aurora. Wow. And it's worked so well in Denver. I mean, have you seen all the great restaurants that are just thriving?
Absolutely. It's so clean, too. And safe, definitely. That's incredible. It works so well. I couldn't agree with you more. More with Erica Kirk last night with Jesse Waters on Fox News.
A lot of this is from when people came to the campus, the Turning Point USA offices, and left it outside the gates. Also, a lot has been mailed. I mean, it's just unbelievably humbling. But this is all mail. I told them not to throw anything away. I want every single card saved for my kids. And for when, if the day gets hard at your desk, you come into this mailroom, and I want you to come in, and I want you to pick up any of these cards, and I want you to read it so you can put into perspective why you work here.
I love that. Overwhelming love for the Patriot. Amazing. There are paintings, drawings, letters, of course, just tens of thousands of things in this room. Charlie was a hero. Thank God for Jesus Christ and people like Charlie Kirk. Nikola Jokic last night, wow, another one, 33, 15, and 16. He has 5 triple-doubles so far this season. The rest of the NBA has 5 overall. That gives you an idea.
He 16 assists already on 20 made field goals. That's good. Now Jokic has it. Alley-oop to Gordon. Splash one.
122, 112 Nuggets over the Heat. Thanks, Chris Marlowe. Capitals star Alex Ovechkin has made NHL history by becoming the first player to score 900 goals. He is 40 years old. 42 in North Glen, 43 in Lone Tree, 44 in Denver, and Jeff and Billy continue waking up with Jeff and Bill.
Imagine North.
Great song.
Isn't it? News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Secretary Duffy announcing airspace restrictions amid record government shutdown. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announced airspace restrictions Wednesday as the ongoing federal government shutdown continues to affect the nation's transportation system. At a press conference, Duffy outlined what he called additional measures to reduce risks in national airspace. One of them, though, is going to be that there is going to be a 10% reduction in capacity at 40 of our locations. The restrictions will go into effect on Friday. It will impact roughly 4,000 flights nationwide. The list of impacted airports will be released today. The decision was driven by mounting concerns over staffing shortages and safety risks within the FAA and the broader aviation network. The shutdown entered its 36th day on Wednesday, now 37 today, making it the longest government shutdown in history. The federal government has been closed since October 1st, significantly disrupting multiple sectors, including air travel, Fox News is reporting. Thousands of aviation workers, including air traffic controllers, have continued to report for work without pay, including 13,000 air traffic controllers and 50,000 Transportation Security Administration officers. Despite their commitment, staffing levels have dropped, creating increasing pressure on the nation's airspace system. On Monday, Duffy warned the Trump administration would shutter the U.S. aviation system if he thought an ongoing government shutdown would make it too risky to travel. Now, DIA seeking to pay air traffic controllers wages out of their own pocket. Denver International Airport has been spared so far with minimal flight delays, Denver Post is reporting, as the shutdown continues. But DIA officials on Wednesday were bracing for the Trump administration's ordered reduction in air traffic at major hubs coming later this week. DIA said it would later seek reimbursement from the federal government once the shutdown is over. Bill, we are inching ever closer to the busiest air traffic days out of the year, the biggest travel days.
Yeah. Coming
up here for Thanksgiving. That's 3 weeks from today.
Yeah, this is, again, the lack of, I don't know, motivation on either side to get this done is shocking. That we're screaming towards some of the busiest holiday travel times in America, and they're like, I don't understand. Yeah, I get it that one side wants one thing, the other side wants another, and that's how you compromise. I'm getting to the point where it sounds to me like the Congress are a bunch of kids that are screaming in the back of the minivan that one group wants to go to McDonald's and the other group wants to go to Taco Bell, and that we've just decided, fine, I'm just going to park this car here on the side of the road, and if we starve, fine, that's it. It'll be your fault because we can't figure this out. And just let them fight. That's it. We're not solving the problem. We're not getting anywhere closer to getting anything done. And a lot of them aren't even at work. I mean, just for frame of reference, Blake played the thing about, oh my God, what's going to happen with workers and employment and money and this and with everything in Mondami. Yeah, we know one house of Congress has been in recess for a while, right? Yeah, weeks and weeks and weeks. They're still drawing a darn paycheck over that. And when we're sitting here saying with the federal workers, oh, it's okay. It's just a free vacation for them. They'll get their money on the back end. These guys in Congress are getting a vacation right now and still drawing the paycheck and doing nothing. I don't know. I mean, what's going to have to happen? Is it that we're going to have to shut down the entire flight system, that no planes can go anywhere, that we actually start taking this seriously? When are these people going to start doing
Bill,
their jobs?
At this point, they could just open it up. All these other ancillary debates about Obamacare and subsidies and all this, that can happen. No one's saying that debate can't happen, but the Democrats seeking to leverage the government shutdown in order to get more favorable terms on ancillary issues to the core issue of just continuing to keep the government open, I think this is really going to start to backfire for the Democrats. Just open it.
Yeah, I don't
think it is. At this point, just open it.
Here's the thing.
Why do we have to have a debate about Obamacare subsidies?
Okay, here's the idea, okay? If we really believe that this is the Democrats just holding it hostage, okay, then let's imagine that, just for the sake of argument, the Democrats are that bank robber with hostages holding the American people hostage inside the bank. And the law enforcement, the Republicans, are standing outside going, okay, give us all of your guns, and then we'll talk about what you want. Huh? The idea is that as long as the government is shut down, it's leverage. And the Republicans have acknowledged this in the past when they have been talking about shutdowns, threatening them and bringing them to fruition.
And what happened in those cases?
The fact that it was leverage.
Yeah, and what happened in those cases?
Eventually we opened back up. And sometimes we passed continuing resolutions, and sometimes the Democrats acquiesced and gave in to what the Republicans wanted in order to pass continuing resolutions. So that's the issue, is that with the Republicans, when they had passed a bill that takes away the health care subsidies, and they go, well, if you let us reopen the government, then we'll debate it. Okay, so Republicans open up debate. Oh, it's 5 minutes. Oh, debate closed. Oh, sorry about that.
Then they can pay an electoral consequence, Bill. That's how it works out. But at this point, we're 3 weeks away from the busiest travel season of the entire year. Democrats can get this open again. It's a simple continuing resolution. We're at a point now where DIA is paying out of their own pockets to keep the FAA going and the air traffic controllers. Look, if you want to, if this Obamacare subsidy is so absolutely critical, then it stands on its own. This is a Democrat-led shutdown. They are the ones that are keeping the government closed, and it's really going to start to affect you. It's really going to start to get crazy here with Thanksgiving and all those people traveling in just 3 weeks. Is there a way to move forward here?
Couldn't they just debate it right now? Couldn't they just debate it right now and include it into any package? There's nothing preventing the debate from happening right now. It's just a bunch of whiny children.
Thank you for tying it to keeping the government open.
A bunch of whiny children. Have the debate right now. Have the conversation now. Do your job.
All you've done is prove that this is Democrats seizing a challenging moment for the country to push their agenda. Rather than putting the FAA workers first, rather than putting the military first, rather than putting our federal employees first, they are the ones causing this problem. And I think it's backfiring. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law Text line, 720-819-5115. Let's talk advanced hair restoration. Look, for many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, your crown's disappearing. Maybe hair loss has you feeling your identity's lost altogether. Well, I got good news for you. It's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. Look, we've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what if what you want is your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to their world-class Dr. Tanya Pauls, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. It's why Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Give them a call, 720-459-HAIR, 720-459-HAIR, advancedhair.com, advancedhair.com. Who do you blame for this shutdown? What's it going to take to finally turn this around? Duffy announcing later today a 10% reduction in capacity at 40 airport locations across the country. What's finally going to open this thing up? Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us at 720-819-5115. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
What would you call that music? Waking up
It's an earworm.
with Jeff and Bill.
It's an earworm. It just. I'm sitting trying to go to bed last night, and I'm hearing "Waking Up."
Is that like pop?
Oh.
Is that K-pop?
No, no, not even close. No, not even close. Not even close. We can't be cool enough to be K-pop. That's not even close. No, I don't know what that would. That's more. God, the Waking Up to Jeff and Bill, that's more adult contemporary style kind of thing.
Cozy.
Yeah, it is. It's cozy. Yeah. And I love it. And it's got such an earworm. Again, I am trying to go to sleep. And it's that time in which your brain is like, hey, here's a TED Talk nobody asked for it. And you're like, oh, I just want to go to sleep. And then in the background, I have this theme song, Waking Up with Jeff and Bill. Yeah, it was a lot of fun trying to get to sleep last night. Yeah, that was good.
All right, we are talking Duffy. Secretary Duffy announcing airspace restrictions amid record government shutdown. There will be a 10% reduction in capacity, 40 locations across the country. It'll begin Friday. The announcement coming later today as to which airports. DIA responding by seeking to pay air traffic controllers wages themselves when they get reimbursed later by the federal government. What's it going to take to finally figure this out? At this point, it's so crystal clear to me. Democrats are seeking to use this as leverage. They are saying so themselves. They're trying to advance a legislative agenda. The debate on Obamacare subsidies has nothing to do with opening the government. Those are two separate issues. And if it's so important, so absolutely critically important to maintain those subsidies for Obamacare, that stands on its own. And if you're saying, well, it's never going to pass, there's not enough for Republicans, well, then if it's so catastrophic to the Obamacare operation, then there will be a legislative response or an election response, an electoral response later. But at this point, it is the Democrats that are making Americans suffer in order to try to get what they want, get their way in these negotiations. What do you think? Join us by giving us a call at 303-696-1971. Let's go to Frank in Denver. Good morning, Frank. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Morning, guys. I sense a certain desperation in both parties, probably as reality comes closer and closer. You know, more desperation, I think, in the Democrats because they are forced into a position of having to face the anger of the American public, but also the Republicans, too. And it's sad because we can't do things. I think the Republicans feel we can't keep doing things as we have been because there's just no end to the spending. It was obviously worsened with COVID. The extra money, I think, was probably needed, but it can't be continued or shouldn't be continued. And the bottom line is there's no free lunch here. We're going to have to get people, whoever can do a job, working, and the people that really truly need, aid money on the bottom of the pile are going to have to be helped. But people in between are going to have to be looked at and screened, as are any person coming into this country. And unfortunately, as distasteful as it looks like it has to be, the people that are here illegally are going to have to probably go back out. That's a conservative position, but I think, to me, it's the only way the country keeps on going. And what I fear is things that are unsaid by the administration, things that he knows and the CIA knows. You never can tell some of the things that Trump is doing with the shooting up the boats, but that continues. I mean, these people only respect force. It's a tough position we're in, but it's not untenable. I really like the idea of the Denver airport paying for the air controllers because all their jobs are dependent on it too, plus the service to the traveling air traffic.
Now, Frank, got a question for you, though. You talked about the idea of the spending being out of control. Then why does the big, beautiful bill expand not only deficit spending, but the debt? Isn't that a problem? And the reason I'm saying is this is the one thing that we're taught that we haven't heard now that the Republicans are in power and control all levers of government inside of Washington, D.C., this overarching concern about the debt that was a constant drumbeat the previous 2.5 years. And in fact, the big, beautiful bill does increase deficit spending and the debt. So when you say that, we got to get the spending under control, Republicans aren't doing it.
Historically, anytime there is a sweep of the Congress and the presidency, the House, the Senate, and the presidency, spending always of one party, spending always increases. And that's true for the Democrats or the Republicans. They're still sticking in their pork. I think we got to get over that, though, and start doing what's right for the American people.
But wait, Frank, hang on a sec. Frank, I got to hold you responsible there, because you say we got to get spending under control, and then you come around and say, and then you seem to give a pass that, well, both sides do. And when you're in power, and what I say is when you're in power, that is the perfect time. And in fact, the only time you're probably going to get spending under control, because you have
Help me
total
understand,
control.
how did we get here with the government shutdown?
Oh, no, I'm just starting
spending. I mean, it just feels like an ancillary issue.
I understand that, but I'm asking him about what he talks about. He said, well, Republicans, we've got to get, his premise when he started out talking to us was, well, we got to get government spending under control, and Republicans are going to do blah, blah, blah. So I'm going back to where he started with the idea that what the Republicans were trying to do is get government spending under control.
I disagree with the Obamacare subsidies, but go ahead, Frank.
But if we want to go back to the idea of the government shutdown and the idea
I hear
that,
you, Bill. I can't justify all these things. I don't know the bill well enough, but that's just history. That when all the representatives, the Senate, and the presidency are under the control of one house, the spending always increases. But we got to start putting in some things like this argument about the air traffic controllers being paid and the military being paid. That ought to be already on automatic pilot, just like Medicare and solid Medicaid and things like that.
Why don't we privatize the FAA, Frank?
Well, that wouldn't be a bad idea, especially when we're coming close to an emergency. You're seeing the pockets, the deeper pockets at the airport do what they need to do to maintain their salary and keep things flowing.
I mean, I bring that up because we're not having a conversation about pilots not getting paid. And they're privatized. That's privatized. But the FAA, which is tied, this is part of the problem I have with tying everything to the government, is you literally let the dumbest people in the community make decisions with regards to whether or not people get a paycheck.
When people's lives are involved, the government would need to be some overall control with regulation, but they don't necessarily need to be the paycheck.
That's right.
And, so it's a tough thing. This is why it's absolutely so stupid for both parties to be diversely arguing these points purely to stay in power, and it just doesn't get anything done for the American people, and that's the really sad thing about it.
Well, isn't that that's kind of the point where I started with, Frank, the idea that neither side is doing their job. And the job, the way Congress is set up, is compromise. It is not my way or the highway. That until you get to 60 votes, you need to compromise. And we have both parties standing there saying, nope, not going to do it. They're not doing their job. That's my fundamental point here.
I agree with you, Bill. All we're doing now is arguing. And that's not to me, I don't know how many years you got to go back before Congress worked together with each other to try to hammer out some kind of reasonable compromise. But that is long gone. I fear that it is the introduction of some elements into the parties. Who knows where it started, with the Republicans, the Tea Party, or the left with the, radical left, people holding them or making the powers that be in the Democratic Party think they had to have those people to stay in power. And so if you don't do my bidding, we won't give you our voting block. So that's the threat that is put on the congressman. Maybe that's
Frank, appreciate the call.
Flows.
Thanks so much.
Frank.
Frank from Denver. His line will be open. Quickly jump in because we got jam-packed phone lines, 303-696-1971. Let's go to Rod in Littleton. Good morning, Rod. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Good morning, gents. This is a problem created by the Democrats. Because they're the ones that passed the Obamacare bill. They're the ones that put the sunset provision in the most recent subsidies, and now they want Republicans, and this is something that they do all the time when they're not in power. You have to negotiate with us. But when they're in power, it's our way or the highway. Elections have consequences. The Republicans have voted to pass this clean CR just like they've done for the last, 14 to 18 times. So this is a Democrat problem. They're acting like petulant children, holding their breath, saying, you have to give me what I want, or I'm just going to hold my breath.
But that's what Republicans did under the Biden administration. You have to give us what we want, or we're going to hold our breath. Both sides do this.
But you would hold Republicans accountable when it was their turn. In this case, I think you hold Democrats accountable.
Most definitely. It's so disgusting that these politicians play these games. But now that the Democrats are hurting far more people than any shutdown that the Republicans supposedly created. This is a problem that the Democrats created, and now they want us to negotiate so they can open the government. No, you guys created this. Let's open the government. Let's negotiate then. That's the time and the place. Pass a clean CR. I'm still mad that they don't pass a damn budget. Why are we doing continuing resolutions instead of passing a damn budget?
Because they can't do their job.
Right? No, that's exactly right. I think we all agree on that.
That's the problem. Exactly. So open the government, limit the pain for these people that are not getting paid and need the SNAP benefits. Then we can negotiate and talk about what you want, which is what we're supposed to do. But we're not going to let you force the hand. You created the problem. Pass the CR, and then let's negotiate. That's the way it should be done.
Rod, would you, if you were sitting the Democrat side, would you trust the Republicans? And what I mean by that is, remember, the big, beautiful bill was passed through reconciliation, which are totally different rules based on the debate and based on funding. So I sort of look at it a little bit side-eye, the idea that the Republicans went through this big, giant, robust debate and went through and they passed it through the House, then passed it through the Senate. There were shutdowns under Obama with the Affordable Care Act that wasn't done through things like reconciliation. So the issue is that they kind of ran the idea of how to get this big, beautiful bill through Congress, and they did it as one giant omnibus package. And now we're at this issue. And so, it's a pox on both their houses. I'm not happy that the Democrats are sitting here and being, intractable about it, but so are the Republicans. And I understand the idea that, hey, Democrats are the ones acting like little kids, but remember also, Republicans, the hill they've decided to die on is that we need to make sure that the people that are on the lower income strata pay a heck of a lot more for health care. That's a weird place to plant your flag and say, this is the place in which you shall not pass. It's a weird place to say.
No, because the Democrats created that problem. Obamacare promised. And if you remember, Nancy Pelosi said, we don't know what's in this. We need to pass this so we can find out what's in it.
Got a question, though, on that. I got a question, though, before we go. So on the idea of what have the Republicans done to the subsidies over the lifetime of Obamacare? What has been the goal?
Reduce them.
Yeah. So they've been trying to undercut the funding, and now when the funding is undercut, hang on, Rod, what I'm pointing out is now when the funding is undercut, the argument is, oh my God, look at the funding that's undercut. The party that has been doing this is now complaining about what is happening because of what they've done.
Yeah, because it makes it more expensive.
Why am I supposed to support the subsidies, giving people money that I could keep in my pocket because they keep raising taxes and we're being taxed to death?
Yep.
So let's cut, and that's what some of the things.
Rod, you're giving people health care. Rod, you're giving people health care. Is that something you're not in favor of?
Welcome to socialism, Rod. How dare you try to take away somebody's health care by not paying your taxes?
Is that something you don't want to do, Rod? You don't want to give people health care?
I have to work to support myself.
Okay,
so that's what these people need to do.
Okay, Hang on. Like on Snap, some of these people can't work. Elderly, disabled. You'd have to show me the percentage. Now, there are some out there, and the people that are out there on the work programs, more times than not, meet the requirements. We already have work requirements for many things based on the health care. But the other part is this. So you're saying that we should not provide the health care. So are you saying, Rod and Jeff, you want to go back to somewhere like the 70s and the 80s where you show up at a hospital, and if you don't have insurance, we turn you out?
Bill, I don't want to hand the healthcare industry to central planners in a government.
No, that's not my question.
That's exactly what Obamacare
that
and
is not my
socialism
question.
and what you guys are doing. You're taking an industry out of the free market, handing it to central planners, forcing taxpayers to subsidize it. The quality goes down, the cost goes up, and it doesn't happen just with healthcare. It happens with education. It happens with housing. It's happening with SNAP. Bill, we are more dependent on the government than at any point in American history. That is shameful.
We need to help the people that need it, but there are far too many. How much has SNAP grown under Democrats? We're at some 40 million people that need this. I don't know if that's correct. There's a lot of people on there that don't do anything, and they just expect the government to pay them. And you could look at the memes all over the internet with these people talking about you need to support it's your job to support me and my family.
Hold on, Rod. That specific thing about your job to support me and my family, that's an AI generated video. In fact, Fox News did a story about, oh my God, look at all these SNAP beneficiary people that are threatening looting and riots. They were AI generated. No, they were AI generated. That's a problem. Now now all of that was a wonderful speech that both of you did, but neither one of you addressed the issue of, are you saying that if someone shows up at the hospital and they don't have insurance, you refuse them care? Is that it?
We should care for them, but we need people to stand up and work for themselves.
Now, hang on, Rod. Rod, hang on. Some of the people on Medicare and Medicaid can't work for themselves. Again, elderly, disabled, things like that. We showed that. Hang on. We showed that in SNAP. That inside of SNAP, even though SNAP, we only had 16% of beneficiaries that are actually work eligible. So realize that. Now, when you're talking about, Rod, but we need to take care of people we need to give them health care, take care of them in the hospital. What you're saying is we need to take care of these people at the highest possible cost.
Nope.
Yes, we are.
No,
yes.
It's not the government's job. It's not the government's job.
So we should not provide health care for them.
The government should not. You live in a world where if the government doesn't do it, Bill, nobody else does it. That's socialist thinking.
No, I live in a world where people were denied health care and turned away from hospitals when I was a child. That was the reality at times.
Who?
And then that's the idea.
Who was denied health care and turned away from a hospital?
Wait, we have to have names now?
But you just said. You said I lived in a world where this took place, and I'm asking who.
There were people.
Who did that happen to?
That was the structure. The structure
no,
at the
it wasn't.
time. Yes, it
That's
was.
why you have religious-based hospitals,
No,
Bill.
that was the structure at the time.
That's why everything's named like Saint this and Saint that and Saint this. That didn't happen.
Yes, it did.
It did not happen.
Yes, it did, Jeff.
No, it didn't. And you created a system
I didn't create
that requires...
anything.
No.
I didn't get to vote. I didn't get to do anything.
Fine, I'll put you in with all the socialists.
Good.
You have created a system...
You're wrong about free market system in the healthcare
You've created a system that requires, that is so dependent upon taking money from other people in order to prop it up, because God forbid somebody showed up at a hospital in the 70s and didn't get care. I asked you who that was. You can't name them. So we're going to go out there and tax everybody else.
Just because I don't have a name doesn't mean it didn't exist.
But you said it happened.
Yes,
and
it
I'm
did.
telling you
History
that you're
tells
in a
you it
place now
happened.
where you're going to tax every single American in order to subsidize a system where the quality goes down and it gets more expensive. You are a central planner socialist. It doesn't work. And we're more dependent on it and more dependent on the government than ever before. We can't even feed our kids in the state anymore.
That's wrong. You're tossing around things
that
are completely wrong. It's completely wrong. I'm not a central planning socialist. That's it.
I think that's exactly what you've argued for.
No, not at all. But that's okay. Not in the least. I've talked about changing and modifying our healthcare system in a way that it would help people. That's fine.
Who does the changing and the modifying?
The government would have to modify the rules and regulations, because that's basically how it works now.
Rest my case, the government. Rod, I appreciate the call. Thanks so much. We got You Choose the News coming up.
What the point is.
You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Phone lines are hot. Text messages are hot. Suzanne's calling me a hypocrite. What happened to your Christian faith? Well, tell me in Scripture where it says that we need to use the power of the government to take taxes in order to care for other people. I'm pretty sure we were called to personal generosity, which is why most of the hospitals that were founded were all faith-based. But feel free to text in. Give us a call. We'll continue the conversation. Now it's time, though, for Bill Thorpe's You Choose the News.
Yes, it's time for us to laugh a little bit together. It's You Choose the News, America's favorite fake radio news game show. You know how this works? I browsed interwebs for moments this morning to find really dumb stories. You'd be surprised how easy it is. Also, then throw on these really silly headlines so we can play this fake radio news game show, because those in charge are not awake until 7 o'clock. So when left unsupervised, we always will take full advantage. And of course, you need a fall guy. I mean, another participant in this valuable game show, and that is Blake Olson, who is in the news department. Gentlemen, here are your headlines this morning. Headline number 1, to rule them all. Headline number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Headline number 3, take a seat. And headline number 4, Stephen Colbert was right. Mr. Hunt, your choice, sir.
Let's start with Stephen Colbert.
Yes, Stephen Colbert was right. Here we find ourselves in Tokyo. Those of you that remember the Colbert Report and the threat down will know what he always warned us was the most dangerous thing in our lives. Bears. Yes, bears. And Japan just this week has deployed troops to help contain a surge of bear attacks that have terrorized residents in a mountainous region in the northern prefecture of Akita. Now, reports of sometimes deadly encounters with brown bears and Asiatic bears are being reported almost daily ahead of the hibernation season as the bears forage for food. And it's really easy to find the food where the people are, near schools, train stations, supermarkets, even at a hot springs resort. You want a little dip before hibernating. Since April, more than 100 people have been injured and 12 have been killed in bear attacks all across Japan. The government has estimated their overall bear population more than 54,000. It's a big threat down. Soldiers, however, have said they will not open fire. They'll be just using food traps and boxes and things like that and then transport them out of the area. So, yes, Stephen Colbert was right. Bears are the big threat. All right.
He's so smart.
Yes. Blake, your choice. 1 to rule them all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or take a seat.
Take a seat.
Yeah, take a seat. That's a great idea most of the time, except if you're in Madrid lately. Spanish police have busted a criminal group dedicated to stealing your chair. Literally. Spain's national police said this week they've arrested 7 people suspected of stealing more than 1,100 chairs from outdoor seating cafes and restaurants and bars all across Madrid and in a nearby municipality as well. They accomplished this feat in just 2 months. Talk about overachieving. 6 men and a woman worked at night to pilfer the chairs from 18 different establishments across Madrid and elsewhere. It's also, and this went on through August to September, estimated impact of stolen property, about $69,000. Many of the restaurants and bars leave tables and chairs, usually made of metal or hard plastic, outdoor during the night. No word on what they were doing with their pilfered chairs. I doubt they're holding some sort of lawn event, but I'm just wondering, is there an underground market for stolen chairs?
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly. All right, Jeff,
Someone
wrap
can
us
make
up
some
here.
money.
1 to rule them all, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6, 7.
Now, you were familiar. One of the most brazen robberies in recent memory happened at the Louvre Museum in Paris. They've been catching people involved in it, but now they're wanting to know about the security. Well, according to a security investigation, the password for their video surveillance system was Louvre. Yes, the name of the museum.
Museum.
Yeah, that's like naming your password after yourself. I'm sure that was super, super secure. In fact, as they go through some of the security systems, they have found some serious shortcomings, including easy access to rooftops during periods of construction. Wow, who knew? Also, security software is more than 2 decades old and is unsupported by their developer. If you don't think that's a big deal, tell me if you're still running a Windows 98 machine and how that's working out. Yeah, exactly. So they don't know exactly the number of security failures that contributed to the robbery, but just saying that maybe if you're looking at breaking into a jewelry store, going and stealing the old stuff at the museum might be easier because evidently the security really sucks.
Yeah,
I can't believe that the security password for the video was Louvre. They didn't leave it at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of us are prompted all the time with these stupid little passwords.
Yeah,
this is
I
what we
also
get.
wonder if people would have been able to hack that because I feel like they do the computer hacking and I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe the computer would have overseen that it was that simple.
I don't know if it was that simple. It doesn't. The computer didn't know. So that's it. That's it. You choose a new. Back to you, sir.
All right, people, call me. Tell me why I'm wrong. Y'all are fired up on the text messages. This is the only show you can do it. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is 710 KNUS.